What do you do when you're going crazy from being in Ohio in the winter? You go to Florida. Hello everyone and welcome back to Court Climbs. You may be asking yourself, what is there to do in Ohio in the winter? And my response to that is, my coworker makes a game out of going to Meijer's, which is a local grocery store, and seeing if they have any rotisserie chickens available. This is because if they don't have any available, they will give you a coupon for a free one at a later date. And that is the answer to your question when you ask, what is there to do in Ohio in the winter? Yeah, so long story short, Jed and I, in the middle of January, were like, we hate the snow, and randomly found the cheapest tickets to Florida that we possibly could. Spirit Airlines. You're probably gonna get there. There's a climbing gym there called Project Rock, and apparently the walls mimic real outdoor climbing locations around the US. So I'm super stoked to check it out, and also just to be out of the cold and snow for a minute. We're waiting for our shuttle to come pick us up to the airport, and in the meantime, we just checked the weather in Florida as we're standing out here in the freezing cold. And it's gonna be 70, baby! I'm so excited. Are you excited, babe?
Yeah.
So we just got to our Airbnb and it's 1 a.m. and we are going to IHOP. We are walking the streets of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, hoping to not get conked by a coconut. Good morning, everyone. We are like almost a third of the way through our short trip to Florida, and so far we've managed to fly in, eat at IHOP at 1 in the morning, and then sleep till 9. So I'm ready to go to Project Rock now. Okay, so the way that you know you're in Florida is you count how many palm trees there are, and if there's more than a couple, then you're in Florida. So I'm gonna count all the palm trees I see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Shake your body, don't stop, don't miss. Shake your body, don't shake your body, don't shake your body, don't stop, don't miss. Shake your body, don't stop, don't stop, don't shake your body, don't stop, don't miss, don't miss. Shake your body, don't shake your body, don't stop, don't miss, don't shake your body, don't stop.
So the whole idea for Project Rock started when this climber from Florida named Mark went on a big climbing trip in another state and was like, I want to try and make something like this back home. In a state like Florida, there's just not much outdoor climbing at all. Not only did Mark want to make a climbing gym, his whole goal was to bring as much of the outdoor feel of climbing indoors. Project Rock's lead and top rope walls are designed in sections based on real outdoor crags around the US. One of the first things that is really noticeable when you walk into Project Rock is this big metal map of the US. The copper states are states that the gym walls represent. The first wall is based on climbs in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Jed and I found it pretty interesting that we had climbed in all 3 of these states and expected pockety overhung routes, but instead found the walls to be fairly vertical and technical. I think this is because we spend a majority of our outdoor climbing time at the Red River Gorge and aren't as familiar with the new Foster Falls and the Obed. We climbed 2 45-foot routes in this section and found the grading to be fairly on par compared to most of the gyms we climb at in Ohio. The next section of walls is based on Yosemite. When we used to live in Southern California, there were several times that we drove up near the Yosemite area, and I always regret never stopping by to at least drive through the park. So that is for sure something that is on my bucket list. I found this pink route to be really satisfying in the body movement. There is a crack climb here that is graded 514 and has never been sent by anyone. Yet. The middle of the gym had one of the coolest climbing walls ever. It was a stalagmite on the bottom with a gap in the middle leading into a free hanging stalactite. The top section moved if you were too dynamic with your climbing, which was a very unique experience. The route that was set here had a dyno on this portion, so it was super fun and I loved it so much that I climbed it twice in a row. The next section of wall was based on red rocks in Nevada. We climbed a route on the face climbing section of this wall, but because we've never crack climbed before, we didn't even know how to get started on the red rock section, so we decided to move on to the next area. The area that we moved on to was based on climbing in Devil's Tower in Wyoming. I've actually been to Devil's Tower before, but I've never climbed there. Based on what I can remember about it, the rocks seem fairly accurate, but of course that's from a mostly aesthetic standpoint, seeing as I haven't actually climbed there. The next wall was based on rocks in Custer, South Dakota, which confused us because it's not exactly a world-class climbing destination like many of the other walls that the gym was based on. It makes sense though, because Mark, the guy who brought the gym to life, went on a climbing trip to South Dakota where he proposed to his then-girlfriend. There are a few routes with holds on this wall, but a lot of the routes are meant to be climbed using only the rock features themselves. Out of several gyms that I've been to with rock that is supposed to mimic the look and feel of a rock, this gym for sure was the most realistic feeling. We think it must have been made with some sort of combination of cement and sand. Project Rock also has a bouldering section. We messed around on a variety of different problems, and if I had to say my overall experience with bouldering here, I would use the word dynamic, which is funny, because before coming to Project Rock, I had reached out to some of the climbing forums on Reddit asking if anyone climbed there regularly to try and get a feel for what to expect. As we were literally leaving Project Rock, I had someone respond to my post and tell me that it was in fact their home gym. They said that they liked it okay, but that because they were boulderers and it primarily focused on people that rope climbed, their opinion was that the bouldering area only had problems that were fairly dynamic, especially the higher up you got in grades. I know I've only climbed here once, but based on my experience, I believe what they're telling me. That being said, I really vibed with a lot of the problems because I like working on dynamic movement, especially on overhung boulders, because that's something that I don't really get in my home gym. Project Rock also had a training area that's housed inside this little barn in the corner. It featured campus boards, a kilter board, and other training tools, all in a bright neon green atmosphere. After climbing at the gym from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., we were exhausted and took an Uber to the beach for pizza and ice cream. I loved our crazy little plan for a weekend getaway to Project Rock. It definitely is a gym like no other. Thanks for tuning in to our little slice of sun in the middle of the snow, and as always, stay hyped. 754, 755.